Now, as we know, Jim Chalmers, when he's not impersonating members of the SES, and definitely not campaigning, during the flood situation, he will now have to prepare a budget after the Prime Minister decided to delay the election. That will be March the 25th. We'll have a special 90-minute edition of Paul Murray Live. We'll be the first ones to cut through the spin and the BS like we have for all 15 years of when we've been on air. There's the Canberra bubble effect, there's the inside spin, and then there's the ones who see it from outside and see it from what it is, and we will smash it. I promise. Smash it on budget night. So make sure that you are here. Well, of course, the likelihood is they'll find another way to get a surplus, but remember how that surplus has been funded 3 times in a row now. Not about wonderful economic management, but about increasing taxes on booze, on petrol, on cigarettes, taking the profits of the future fund, taking the money from the mining industry, while single-handedly also trying to stab it in the back at every turn this government possibly can. Again, see, that's the type of take that we'll put into all of this in the lead up to the election. Well, the Financial Review has also had a very critical eye, a realistic eye, on not following the garbage that comes from the government, but actually looking at what they say. Oh, we've repaired the budget. No, they spent $60 billion more than what they claim to have saved. All of that, of course, deepens the debt. And they're going to say it was all Liberal debt. That's JobKeeper debt. JobKeeper debt that Chalmers, among others, thought we should have gone deeper into. And remember, they wanted to buy an airline. There's also 87 at least billion dollars which are off budget. This is all of the stuff when they say invest, 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 but it's all stuff that should appear in the budget, but it doesn't, to make sure that they can cook the book to give themselves the best number possible. Have other governments done it? Sure. Is this one worse than many? Absolutely. But the reality is that we keep being told that Australians always want better economic management. We keep being told by people that they want a balanced budget, they want somebody to pay off debt. Well, the reality is when it comes to this election, the demand from people is that they want more money from the government to help them when it comes to the cost of living situation. Now, this government could have done plenty more, but it chose to remove that $1,500 payment from 10 million people, one of the first things they did when they came to government. So until you're $1,500 better off, you are behind the 8 ball from when these people took over. But I want to show you an opinion poll which is basically going to give the green light to the Labor Party to spend even more money off budget or to push us deeper in debt. Have a look at this here, which is, should the government spend more money to deal with the cost of living? Well, put simply, 88% of people believe that to be the case. 88% of people believe that we should be spending more money even if we don't have that money. When it's blokes, it's 82%. When it's women, it's 85% who believe the government should spend more money. And there is no respite when it comes to any of the different age groups. 83% of the youngest voters, 81% of the middle, and then once you start to get a little bit older, 85 and 85%. All of this means that this will be interpreted by a desperate government who has wasted its opportunities to do the right thing, to buy their way to another election. If Australians are going to fall for it, well, Australians always get it right. But Australians spend 3 years telling us what the lies were that got this government into power. A promise of $275 as an ongoing saving when it came to your power bills. Instead, they came up with a way of spending $25 a month to pay off a power company not to put up the bill. When the bill doesn't go up by the $25 that are paid off by the government, well, that of course feeds into the inflation numbers, and then they turn around and say everything's hunky-dory. For at least 2 years of the 3 that they have been in power, you have been in a household recession. Politicians have got 3 pay rises. Public servants have got the biggest pay rise in 10 years, and they've added a football stadium of public servants. Make no mistake, this federal Labor Party is as bad fiscally as anything Daniel Andrews and Tim Pallas did in Victoria or Anastasia Palaszczuk and Cameron Dick in Queensland. I often talk about the triangle that I talk about as their dream, which is that either you are dependent on the government when it comes to welfare, you are dependent on the government because you work for them, or if you're in a business, the biggest client is the government. And if that triangle is able to be built, it becomes a permanent majority for the centre-left, which will only get wilder as the years roll on.